that over on HBO Max. Right, moving on to some TV news. So the big thing I wanted to talk about today, apart from the Mortal Kombat trailer, which I'm going to be talking about a bit later on, but there have been rumors. So this is something that I just think is just really weird, that for some reason people online really have it in for the Batman movie, and they're coming up with all these rumors about there being problems on set, problems between Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves, that they're not getting along, that they just want to get the movie done, that they're really fed up with the whole thing. Look, I have asked a lot of people about all this stuff, and everyone that I've asked, because I actually do know a couple of people that are working on this film, and everyone that I've asked has said that this is utter nonsense, that there aren't any problems on set, that it's all just hearsay, and none of it's from very reliable sources. So I think like the Daily Mail posted some stuff and saying that crew members are saying that it's a nightmare, that Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves are just getting on each other's nerves. And now we're getting this rumor from, of all places, 4chan, which, if you don't know what 4chan is, it's not a good site. It's an image board website, and it's awful. It's a terrible, terrible place, and I refuse to go to it, which is why I didn't know about this until relatively recently. But this is now doing the rounds, and it's this person is saying that they're working on the set of the Batman, and in about a week or so, all media will go after him for what he and Zoe did on set of the Batman last week. So he's basically saying that that Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz were caught having sex on the Batmobile prop, and then Matt Reeves is apparently utterly furious with him and interrupted them. Honestly, so there's an article on the site, and I called it an exclusive because what I did was, when I read this, I was like, what is this nonsense? And like, he literally, apparently Matt Reeves told Pattinson, this is according to this guy, that post this on 4chan. Now, if you're going to leak anything, don't leak it on 4chan. It's like the worst place to leak anything, because it's literally a place full of terrible, terrible people, and it's not a good place to be. And if this is a real leak, which when I was reading it, I was like, I'm gonna have to look into this, because this sounds utterly bonkers, and actually, to me, it sounds completely made up. 4chan's not the place to be leaking it. It really isn't. You talk to a journalist, or you contact people. You don't post it on 4chan. No. But anyway, and also the way that this person talks about crew members, they say workers, which is just wrong. That's not how you call them. Mean a lot of workers with Matt Reeves. It just doesn't make any sense. Someone that's in the business would know not to talk like this and not to refer to things like that in that sense. It doesn't stick. They said apparently Matt Reeves told Pattinson, "You are the most entitled, narcissistic actor I've ever worked with. You go back to work. We finished filming in March, and then we are done. I don't want to ever work with you after this film." So, all right, fine. Direct quote, apparently. Why are people so against this movie? I don't understand it. A lot of this is propagated by YouTubers. People. Well, I'm not going to name names, but there are certain YouTube channels out there that really love to post stuff saying that there's issues on the Batman set. And it stems, for me, I think it does stem from some bizarre hatred of Robert Pattinson. They just are desperate to make him look bad. And I suppose it stems from the fact that he played Edward in Twilight. And you know what? I actually thought he was as good as he possibly could have been in those films. But to me, it really doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, because all of this is nonsense. So I asked some people that, again, and I've actually, for instance, I've spoken to Zoe Kravitz in the past. I interviewed her for the Divergent movies a couple of years back, and she was really, really lovely. And and they're both professionals. They wouldn't do this. It's something that, especially on a set of something so public, really, in a weird way, like the Batman is a massive blockbuster. It's Warner Brothers. It's a Warner Brothers movie. It's a big deal. You wouldn't do this. And there have been literally no, before this, only people that were talking about both actors could only say nice things about them, literally saying they're the nicest people to work with. They're really good to work with on set, especially Robert Pattinson. A lot of people calling him a gentleman and things like that. And like Christopher Nolan saying that he'd love to work with him again, and all this stuff. So why is there all of a sudden all this stuff saying he's terrible on set, he's awful to work with, he's narcissistic, blah blah blah, and then apparently Matt Reeves is impossible to work with, according to some people, saying that he has to do take after take after take, basically claiming that he's like David Fincher. There have been no reports of that on any of his other films. Everyone else has said he's really good to work with. So it just doesn't work. It doesn't fit. But for some reason, people are desperate to say this is happening, that this is a thing. Anyway, as I said, that's a bit of a rant. But I asked some people about this that I know are connected to the movie. Some are actually working on it as we speak. And this is what they said. This didn't happen. It's utter rubbish spread by some guy on the internet. That was the first person to say this. And then another person added that, and again, I do know these people quite well. And they are connected to it. One is very much involved. But it said, no, this other person says, no, do not believe these rumors. All the stuff out there all the stuff out there being issues on the set are not true. So I did copy and paste this, and so I think there's a mistake in it. Rob and Zoe were not caught having yes, sorry, there are some spelling mistakes in this. I had to check that. Having sex on a bloody Batmobile. Also, no issues between Rob and Matt. They have their differences on certain things, but it's all creative stuff about the character, and they are getting along. And then this person who is, I'm not going to go, I did say I've known this person since my school days, said, what I can say is that there's no truth to these rumors. Seems like a lot of YouTubers and people on the internet having something against the film. Don't know why, but they love making up and spreading these rumors on the internet. This Rob and Zoe one is one of the most inventive yet. So yeah, it's one of those things that it's like, for some reason, people love spreading these sorts of things about this movie and about Robert Pattinson. And now Zoe Kravitz has unfortunately been put in the mix as well. And it's really something that it gets me annoyed because there's no need for it. It's like just creating problems where there are none. And I'm just fixing the typos. Do not believe the rumors that Rob and Zoe were not caught having sex on the movie. Also, no issue they have their differences. Okay, right. That's all changed. Right. So again, it's one of those things. I wanted to get that out there for you guys because it's something it's not happening. It's just not happening. There aren't these issues on the set. They're getting it done. They're getting it filmed. There are problems with people getting coronavirus. Now that is genuine. There are problems with people catching coronavirus on set and they're having to shut it down. It actually just happened. I think Robert Pattinson's his stunt double was tested positive for coronavirus. So that is an issue. And that might be causing issues on set and making things a bit, tense. But it's not that there's a massive problem between Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves. That's not the issue. And if anything, Robert Pattinson signed a multi-film contract. So, it's a lot of money that's involved for him as well. And it's a lot of money that's involved for the studio. So they're going to want to make sure that everything is going on as smoothly as possible. Now, this isn't to say that there aren't ever problems on set on movies. There always are. I mean, actors are notoriously can be notoriously difficult to work with. It's just that this isn't the case with Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. They're not those sorts of actors, and they're just people that are very into their craft. And Robert Pattinson especially is very into his he only wants to work with certain directors and he wants to do the best job he possibly can. Zoe Kravitz is very professional as well. So it's just upsetting that people would spread this sort of stuff. But, that's the world we live in nowadays. But let me know what you